You are standing 12 feet from the president with sore feet, a radio pressed into your shoulder, and the weird realization that this job started with counterfeit money, not bullets. Level 1. The applicant with the clean suit. You are probably in your 20s or early 30s, staring at a federal job posting and thinking this is basically the coolest law enforcement job in America. Dark suit, earpiece, motorcade, maybe a dramatic rooftop silhouette if your imagination gets carried away. What you do not understand yet is that the Secret Service is not just presidential protection. It was founded in 1865 to fight counterfeit currency, and that old mission never went away. The badge lives in two worlds at once, financial crime and physical protection. So your first scene is not heroic. It is paperwork, transcripts, background forms, drug questions, financial disclosure, interviews, medical screening, polygraph, and the kind of scrutiny that makes you remember every stupid thing you ever did at age 19. You need the education or qualifying experience or both. You need to be appointable under the age rules. You need to be physically capable, mentally steady, and willing to disappear into a career that does not care about your weekend plans. At the entry level, many special agents come in around government pay grade 07 or 09, roughly around the high $40,000 to mid $50,000 range before locality adjustments and the extra premium tied to law enforcement availability. On paper, it looks solid. In your head, you think federal badge. Bad, decent salary, noble mission. What you learn the hard way is that nobody is paying you for cool. They are paying you to become trustworthy under pressure. And if you survive the hiring maze, you earn the right to be humbled properly. Level 2. The Academy Sponge. Now you are at training, and the fantasy gets replaced by repetition. You do the criminal investigator training program at the federal law enforcement training centers, then move into the Secret Service specific training pipeline, often described as about 18 weeks for the special agent training course after the broader federal training. Your days are firearms, legal standards, investigative procedure, protective tactics, emergency medicine, defensive skills, and practical scenarios designed to reveal whether you panic, freeze, or cut corners. You thought the hard part was getting hired. It is not. The hard part is discovering that every weakness becomes visible when you are tired. Your shooting is only okay. Your report writing is slower than you thought. Your tactical driving looks much less cinematic when an instructor is calmly informing you that you just killed your protectee in the scenario. The first aid blocks matter because in this world, seconds are expensive. The tools start becoming real. Pistol, handcuffs, radio, tourniquet, notebook, suit that never quite fits as well at the end of the day. You learn formations, advances, emergency evacuations, and the unglamorous art of noticing what does not belong. Most outsiders think protection means being big and brave. Training teaches you that protection is mostly anticipation. The best move is the one that prevents the dramatic move. Finish the stage and you are no longer pretending. Now they send you somewhere that will test whether you can actually carry a case and a badge. Level 3, the field office rookie. This is where your career usually gets real. For many new agents, the first assignment is a field office, not the White House lawn, not the famous staircase shot, a field office. You are working counterfeit cases, card fraud, identity theft, cyber-enabled financial crime, and task force work with state and local partners. You begin learning that the agency protects the country's financial infrastructure as much as its leaders. The scene is less glamorous and more fluorescent. Interview rooms, evidence bags, subpoena paperwork, a desk with too many tabs open, maybe a search warrant briefing before dawn, maybe a seizure related to cloned cards, or a fraud ring that has been draining people's accounts one ugly charge at a time. Sometimes you are chasing people printing fake notes badly. Sometimes you are dealing with organized networks that are much smarter than you hoped. Your salary climbs with the automatic progression if you perform and stay in the pipeline. Around government pay grade 11, the pay can move into roughly the mid $60,000 range before the extras, and later into higher grades like 13, where base figures can move higher still depending on locality. But the real currency here is competence. Can you testify cleanly? Can you write a report no defense attorney can rip apart? Can you talk to victims like a human being instead of a robot with a badge? You also learn the first ugly truth of the agency. Everybody knows the president. Almost nobody cares about your counterfeit case at a family barbecue. Until the day your team helps unravel a fraud network touching thousands of victims. Then you understand the hidden pride of the job. Quiet work. Real impact. Do 3 to 5 years here and a bigger door opens. The agency wants to know whether you can protect at the highest level, not just investigate. Level 4. The protector in the suit. Now you rotate into protection, and this is the version the public thinks the entire job is. You are on a protective detail. Maybe a former president, maybe a candidate, maybe the vice president, maybe a major event with designated national significance. The phrase national special security event stops sounding bureaucratic once you are inside one. Conventions, inaugurations, major summits, high-profile visits. The scale gets enormous. Your opening scene is a site advance. You are walking a hotel route, checking stairwells, loading docks, rooftops, entry control, medical access, emergency exits, holding rooms, and where the nearest trauma center sits in relation to the movement route. You are not waiting for danger. You are building layers before the motorcade even rolls. This is also where the schedule starts chewing on your personal life. Early call, late finish, hurry up and wait. Then sudden movement, you miss birthdays, you answer texts 3 hours late, you get good at sleeping in fragments. The public sees the stillness of an agent standing near a rope line. They do not see the planning, the boredom, the body armor, the radio traffic, the mental map of every hand, bag, doorway, and elevation angle in the room. You believe this level would feel important. It does. It also feels exhausting. There is a phrase often associated with this world, zero fail mission. It sounds dramatic until you understand what it means emotionally. Most jobs let you recover from a small mistake. This one might put your mistake on global television. If you prove you can handle this pressure, there is one assignment above all others that changes how the entire career feels. Level 5, the White House Grinder. This is the level where the mythology and the misery shake hands. If you reach a premier protective assignment, especially around the president, you are now inside one of the most demanding operating environments in government. The president does not really get alone time, and neither do you. Agents are near private rooms, travel corridors, vehicles, event spaces, and residences because the job is continuity, not convenience. The scene is quiet, but loaded. You are posted near a doorway at an hour when normal people are asleep. Your feet hurt. Your tie is trying to strangle you. Somewhere nearby, history might happen in 5 minutes or 5 hours. Your radio crackles. You stay still. This is not an action movie. It is sustained vigilance. At this level, tiny details become large. Blood type cards, emergency routes, armored vehicle drills, medical coordination, aircraft loading procedures. Every move is choreographed, but it has to survive chaos. You are part of a machine that can move from handshakes to evacuation in a heartbeat. That machine is expensive too. The agency's budget is in the billions, around $2.96 billion for the 2024 fiscal year, and a full-time employee can cost the government roughly $270,000 annually when salary, benefits, training, and support are considered. You begin to understand why standards are unforgiving. The hard lesson here is not courage. It is endurance. You can be brave for 10 seconds. Can you be sharp for 10 hours, 10 days, 10 months, while the world watches for one bad second? Do this long enough, and you stop just being the person on post. You become the person younger agents watch. Level 6, the senior agent who sees patterns. You have enough miles now to spot trouble before it announces itself. You can walk into a room and feel the bad geometry. You can review a route and notice the blind choke point. You can hear a young agent on the radio and know whether they are calm or pretending. This stage is often where people become stronger in one lane. Maybe you lean hard into protective intelligence, where threats are assessed before they become incidents. Maybe you become the field office veteran who can build a financial case that survives court. Maybe cyber investigations pull you deeper because the counterfeiters grew into digital thieves. The old mission did not disappear. It got modern. Fake notes are still there, but now you are also seeing fraud ecosystems, identity theft, online exploitation of payment systems, and international coordination. The money is better now, especially with progression, locality, and premium pay, but the more noticeable shift is status. You are no longer asking where to stand. You are being asked where everyone else should stand. Supervisory paths begin appearing. Training roles, lead advance work, liaison jobs with other agencies. Maybe an overseas posting if language and timing align. The emotional cost sharpens too. This is where some people burn out. Constant readiness sounds noble until your family stops asking whether you can make dinner because they already know the answer. The suit starts to feel heavier, not because it weighs more, but because you know exactly what can go wrong inside it. And once you start teaching newer people, management is not far behind. Level 7, the supervisor with no simple days. Now the job changes from doing to owning. You may be supervising a squad, leading investigative priorities, coordinating protection logistics, or bridging the painful gap between headquarters decisions and field reality. Younger agents still think the boss mostly gives orders. You know the truth. The boss absorbs friction. Your opening scene is not a dramatic takedown. It is 3 phones, 1 urgent staffing problem, an intelligence concern, travel adjustments, overtime math, and a mistake by somebody junior that has to be corrected before it becomes a headline. You are balancing people, risk, politics, paperwork, and morale at once. This is where the hidden complexity of the Secret Service really shows. It is a workforce of roughly 6,500 people with protective and investigative demands that surge unpredictably. One week you are dealing with a fraud case, the next week a campaign season or foreign visit suddenly changes everything. Staffing becomes strategy. Fatigue becomes risk. One bad schedule can become one bad decision. You believe seniority would buy comfort. It buys responsibility instead. Yes, the salary is better. Yes, the title matters. But now every tired face on your team is partly your problem. You are not just protecting a person or building a case, you are preserving a standard. Do well here, and the final level is not about being the sharpest shooter or fastest runner. It is about carrying institutional memory without becoming institutional dead weight. Level 8, the Executive Guardian. At the highest levels, you are shaping policy, posture, and culture. You may be in headquarters, running major divisions, influencing training, workforce planning, protection doctrine, or investigative strategy. This is the part the public rarely imagines because it is less visible than a motorcade and more consequential than one. Your scene is a briefing room. Maps, staffing charts, budget lines, after action reviews from operations that went right and a few that got too close. You are thinking in years now, not shifts. How many people do we need? Where are the weak points? Which mission is being starved? How do you maintain standards when the workload spikes and the public only notices failure? The biggest lesson at this level is uncomfortable. The Secret Service is famous, but fame does not solve staffing, fatigue, retention, or scrutiny. Every breach anywhere in the system becomes your problem. Every public mistake stains everyone wearing the pin. You are protecting not just lives, but trust in the institution. And this is the endgame most outsiders never see. You did not climb from a rookie chasing counterfeit bills to a senior protector by becoming flashy. You did it by becoming reliable in rooms where failure would echo for decades. Final beat. You started with a clean suit and an inflated idea of what the job was. Somewhere along the way, you learned that the Secret Service is less about looking fearless and more about being useful when nobody can afford your mistake. It began in 1865 chasing fake money. It grew into guarding presidents, candidates, families, dignitaries, and major national events. And if you stay long enough, the strangest part is this. The closer you get to power, the less glamorous the work feels. Just more precise, more tired, more necessary. That radio pressing into your shoulder never really gets lighter. You just become the kind of person who can carry it.